The reports are done, my daughter Camila whispered. I was in the living room, in that wheelchair, eyes closed, pretending to doze. The lawyer will call tomorrow for the final signatures. My son Mateo's voice was sharper. Good. Now we can do whatever is necessary for Mom's sake. We need to get this done before that other issue comes up. That word, good, it cut me to the bone. My own flesh and blood. They had decided what was best for me. But their assumption that I couldn't hear or understand was my greatest advantage. I didn't open my eyes. I just listened to my breathing. Their plan was running smoothly, but so was mine. Excuse me, I didn't start at the beginning. I'm Isabella. I'm 54 years old. You see those shiny buildings in Miami? My sweat is in most of them. I built this empire with my own 2 hands. But last year's accident, that changed everything. They thought I was confined to this chair, that I was weak, that they were now in control. Especially when I told them my big secret, that I had found my first son, whom I had been forced to abandon years ago, and that I would include him in my inheritance. That day, I saw the fake concern on their faces. Sitting in this chair, the thing that hits you hardest isn't the silence, or not feeling your legs. No. The thing that hits you hardest is the memories. The past suddenly collapses on you with all the weight of today. As I hear my children, Mateo and Camila, whispering in the living room about me, about my well-being, my mind always wanders back to the past. They think I can't hear them, that I don't understand. They don't know that this wheelchair is both my prison and my shield. While they plan my weakness, I watch their betrayal, and I remember. Oh, how I remember. Today, my physical therapist Sophia brought me to my workroom. Sophia. She's my only confidant in this house. As she pushed the wheelchair, my eyes fell on that old photo hanging on the opposite wall. The company's first building. Not the Isabella Tower. Number. Long before that ostentation. Outside Miami, in a neighborhood that no one paid any attention to back then, that first office building, 3 stories high, crumbling plaster, but a palace in my eyes. I look at its dusty window. I see Isabella standing in front of that window 25 years ago. And I remember what I did that day. It was 25 years ago. Mateo was only 6, and Camila was a baby in my arms. My late husband, Ricardo, would say, "Isabella, this is madness. The real estate business is full of sharks. They'll eat us. Alive." But I had seen that building. I had seen its potential. I knew, I felt it inside me, that this run-down neighborhood would one day shine. But there was no money. No bank was going to give hundreds of thousands of dollars to a young woman with a baby in her arms and big dreams. I remember that night. Mateo was playing with his toy cars on the carpet, making that vroom vroom sound. Camila was fast asleep in her crib. Our house was tiny, rented. The walls were damp from the humidity. I had cooked cheap pasta, and the smell of tomato sauce filled the house. Ricardo was sitting at the table, looking at the bills waiting to be paid. At that moment, I made my decision. I went to my bedroom. I pulled out the wooden box from under my bed. It was the only thing I had left from my mother. When I opened that box, that familiar smell came out of that heavy, velvet-covered box. A little mothballs, a little smell of old memories. Inside were my mother's ruby necklace and earrings, a wedding gift. "My daughter," she had said to me before she died, "let this be your companion on difficult days, but I hope you never have to use it." I took the box and returned to the living room. I placed it in front of Ricardo. He didn't understand. "What is this?" he said. "Tomorrow," I said, my voice steady, determined. "I'm going to sell these. For the down payment on that building." Ricardo's eyes widened in horror. "You can't! Isabella, that was your mother's. It's your inheritance." I turned to him. I looked first at Mateo, then at Camilla's crib. "No, Ricardo," I said. "That was my past. My children's future, however, is in that building. Mateo's, Camilla's. They won't grow up like me, renting between damp walls. They will own this city." Mateo had left his car and come over to me. "Mommy," he said in his little voice, "those red stones are so pretty." I bent down and stroked his cheek. "Your future will be even prettier, son." I remember selling that necklace the next day to a pawnbroker for far less than it was worth. The greedy look in that man's eyes as he looked at the jewels made me sick. When I took the money, part of me was bleeding. I had sold my mother's memory. I had lost a part of myself. But the other part? That part was filled with pride. I was a mother. A mother would throw herself into the fire for her children. I had done just that. When I laid the foundation of that building with that money, I was actually laying the foundation of Mateo and Camilla's empire. The only thing I felt that day was the pride of motherhood. Exhaustion? Regret? No, just the feeling of, I did it. I did it for them. Now, I look at that building's photo from this wheelchair. Their future. How foolish I was. While I was selling my past to give them a future, they were out to steal my present. Those rubies. That building, bought with the money from those rubies, was the first stone of my current fortune. That fortune that has now blinded their eyes. When they look at that building, they don't see my sacrifice. They don't see their grandmother's memory, my tears. They only see money. They only see inheritance. I sacrificed everything so they could have it. Now they are sacrificing me to take what I have. That day, I said, they will own this city. They did. But that sense of ownership has poisoned them so much that now they think they can own their own mother. They will be the guardians of my sanity, of my mind, which built that empire. Was the price of my mother's rubies to have my sanity questioned today? My stomach churns, but this time, not from the moneylender's gaze, from the greed of my own children. Mateo was in my room just now. He came over, knelt down beside me, supposedly to be at the same level as me, that fake, concerned son expression on his face. "Mommy," he said, softening his voice, "there are some routine matters at the company. To spare you the trouble, the lawyer suggested you transfer some documents to me. Just a signature." He tried to put the pen in my hand, knowing I couldn't feel it. At that moment, at that very moment, I remembered that day. The day I trusted him, the day I gave him his first real power. It was about 10 years ago. Mateo had graduated from the best schools and started working at the holding company. He was a bright kid. He was ambitious, just like I was in my youth. As a company, we were about to embark on a massive luxury residential project on the Miami coast in Bayside. This was going to be my masterpiece. I had been working on it for months. Architects, engineers, the municipality. I had personally taken care of every detail. The project had been approved and was ready for launch. I remember that evening. I was hosting a dinner at my home for the company's board of directors to celebrate our victory. My garden was filled with the sound of the ocean. The popping of expensive wine corks mingled with the joyful laughter of the guests. Everyone was congratulating me. "Isabella, you've done it again," they said. My chest swelled with pride. Around midnight, I called Mateo into my study. "Sit down, son," I said. He looked so handsome in that expensive, custom-tailored suit. "I'm proud of you, Mom. The Bayside project is incredible," he said. I smiled. I picked up the thick project file on my desk and pushed it toward him. "It's yours now," I said. Mateo didn't understand. He frowned. "What do you mean, mine?" "You're taking over the Bayside project. I said. You have complete control. This is your chance to prove yourself. At that moment, everyone in the room, including my finance director Hector, froze. Hector cleared his throat. Ms. Isabella, are you sure? This is a multi-million-dollar project. Mateo, his experience? I cut him off. Mateo is my son. He's my blood. He learned from me. Right, Mateo? Mateo's eyes were shining. I could see his determination. He stood up and took the file. Mom, he said, his voice both proud and a little shaky. I will never disappoint you. I will write this family's name, your name, in the heavens. I hugged him. I know, son, I said. I know. Do you know what I felt in that moment? Trust. Absolute trust. Who would I leave my empire to? My son, of course. He was my heir. I saw Hector's concern, but I didn't care. What is experience? I thought to myself. Experience is gained. But blood ties, they come from birth. I was certain that Mateo would take that project and run with it, even taking it to better places than I had. This wasn't a sacrifice for me. It was the beginning of a handover. I had sacrificed my own masterpiece for my son's rise. I was proud. I will never disappoint you. Those words now ring in my ears like a mockery. Those documents he tried to get me to sign. Those routine matters, not the Bayside Project documents. My WILL documents. Those damn papers questioning my sanity, removing me from the helm of my company. Do you know what I gave him that day? Not just a project. I gave him power. I gave him prestige. I gave him the power of my name, my connections, the keys to my empire. I gave him the sword. Now, he's using that sword against me. I will write your name in the heavens, he said. It turns out, he was accumulating that power to tarnish my name, to brand me as mentally unstable. I called him my heir. He calls me his patient. I trusted him. He used my trust as a weapon to bring me down. That project I gave him that day became the foundation for his betrayal today. He is now using the reputation he gained with that project to destroy me, to make people say, his mother is old now, she can't manage anymore. My son, my heir, Camilla, my little princess. She appeared at my door, a cup of herbal tea in her hand. Mommy, she said in that chirpy but completely fake voice of hers, I brought you your favorite chamomile tea to help you relax. Are you okay, my beautiful mommy? She's wearing an expensive silk robe, bought with my money. The diamond bracelet on her arm catches my eye even in the dim light of the room. As I look at that bracelet, I remember that day, the $1 million plot of land I sacrificed for her happiness. Camilla was getting married 5 years ago. I can't describe what kind of wedding she wanted. She wanted an extravagant, lavish wedding, the biggest Miami had ever seen. And I was a mother who couldn't say no to her daughter. I did everything she wanted. Wedding planners from Paris, thousands of dollars worth of orchids, fireworks displays by the ocean. I got her whatever she wanted. But the real problem erupted a month before the wedding. Camilla wanted a house, but not just any house. She had her eye on a plot of land in Key Biscayne, right on the ocean front, that I had been pursuing for months. That plot. It was a strategic investment. I had drawn up plans for a 20-story ultra-luxury residential project on it. Permits were about to be secured. It was a multi-million-dollar profit for the company. She brought it up over dinner one evening. Mom, she said, batting her eyelashes, that plot of land in Key Biscayne, would you give it to me as a wedding gift? My food got stuck in my throat. Camilla, I said, honey, it's a plot of land. The company has a project there. I'll buy you any house you want in Miami, but that place. She started crying. Those fake tears. I believed them back then. "But I want it," she sobbed. "It's my dream house." "Right there. I want to live there with my husband, raise your grandchildren there. Please, Mom, I don't want anything else in my life. That project is just money to you. But to me, it's a home." Her future husband, that leech who is now my son-in-law Alejandro, nodded. "Camila's happiness is more important than anything, Mrs. Isabella." I couldn't sleep all night. On one side, millions in profit, the growth of the company, my new masterpiece after Bayside. On the other side, my daughter's dream, just money, she had said. A home for me. The businesswoman inside me, Isabella, was screaming, "Don't be ridiculous. This is manipulation. Can't you see?" But the mother inside me, Isabella, that mother won. "What is money?" I said to myself in the early hours of the morning. "Money can always be earned. I've worked so hard, struggled so much. For whom? For my children. Knowing my daughter would be happy in that place she called home, imagining my grandchildren growing up in that garden, that's more valuable than any residential project." The next day, I called my finance director, Hector. "Cancel the Key Biscayne project, Hector," I said. Hector had a minor crisis on the phone. "But Ms. Isabella, this is a disaster." "Cancel it," I said, and hung up. I put the land in Camila's name. That house she called home. I never heard a single day of children's laughter in that house. That dream of grandchildren never came true. That house became a bachelorette party venue for Miami society's wildest parties. It was Camila's happiness, yes, but that happiness consisted of the photos she shared on social media and the invitations she sent out. It was not a nest, but a status symbol. That project I sacrificed for just money. Today, the value of that project would easily cover the fees of those expensive lawyers they hired to manage my entire fortune. Now I understand. Camila didn't want a home from me that day. She wanted power. She wanted to take a piece of my empire, just like her brother Mateo. He took my sacrifice and turned it into a weapon against me, my little princess. She brings me chamomile tea to relax because I need to be relaxed. I need to be calm. I need to be a drugged-up, docile, mentally unstable old woman. That way, they can continue the luxurious life they built with my sacrifices, adding my remaining fortune to it. I had an accident. It was really bad. At first, the doctors said, "She'll never walk again." Mateo and Camila, oh, how they cried at my bedside. Was it fake or real? Back then, numb with pain, I wanted to call it real. But then, a few weeks after that first surgery, my loyal physical therapist, Sophia, slipped into the room. She wasn't a doctor, but she knew my body better than the doctors did. She tested some nerves in my leg, secretly, while my children were busy with chores at home. Sophia's eyes lit up. She leaned over and whispered, "Mrs. Isabella, it's a miracle. There's feeling. Weak, but it's there. The doctors were wrong. If we work hard, you will walk." At that moment, hope filled me. I would get back on my feet. I would return to the head of my empire. And on that very day, the day of that hopeful news, I had already told them my big secret, my intention to find my lost son, my heir, even before the accident. That evening, I felt good. The effects of the medication were wearing off. My door was ajar. I heard Mateo and Camila whispering in the living room. They thought I was asleep. Camila's voice. That cheerful voice was ice cold this time. "Mateo, did you hear that?" Sophia mumbled something about progress. "If that woman gets back on her feet..." Mateo's voice silenced her. "She can't get up. She shouldn't. At least, not until we find that bastard." There was a pause. Camila continued, "Is he going to find that man right now?" The entire inheritance will be divided. Everything my father left us. It will slip through our fingers because of that mistake. Mateo's voice was firm. This accident. Maybe it's an opportunity. She's already not in her right mind. The doctors say post-traumatic stress. If he doesn't recover, he won't have the mental capacity to find that scoundrel. Do you understand? At that moment, my blood ran cold. If he doesn't recover, he won't be mentally competent. They weren't sad that I had an accident. They were afraid that I would recover. My pain was their opportunity. My weakness was their plan to protect their inheritance. That phrase, lost son, scared them more than it scared me. Right then, I made my decision. Since you saw my weakness as an opportunity, then I would use that weakness as a weapon to expose your betrayal. Since you wanted a sick mother, I would give you a sick mother. When Sophia came the next day, I gave her one instruction. Sophia, the plan has changed. No one will know that I've recovered. We'll work secretly at night. During the day, I will be your most hopeless patient. This was a test. The wheelchair was not my prison. It was my Trojan horse. So I sit here in this chair and think. My mother's rubies. The project I passed on to my son. The land I gifted to my daughter. My life, a series of sacrifices dedicated to them and their lives. A series of betrayals, stepping on me to rise. But they don't know. This sick woman sitting in this chair has one last lesson for them. After that day when they thought I was weak, stuck in this wheelchair, my mind wandering, the cruelty increased. Slowly. Betrayal, you know, is not a single moment. That first whisper you hear is just the beginning. The real poison is the small, humiliating doses given to you every day after that whisper. Under the pretext of protecting me, they slowly turned me into a prisoner. Every morning, the first blow came from Camilla. She would open my door without knocking and say, "Good morning, Mommy," in that cheerful, fake voice of hers. At first, she would bring breakfast on a tray. Then, on the day she claimed I was having trouble swallowing, she came with a bowl in her hand. That smell. I recognized it immediately. Banana-flavored, mushy, baby food. "This is best for you, my dear mother," she said. She held out the spoon to me. My stomach churned. M.E. Isabella, the woman who sat at the table with Miami's biggest contractors and signed million-dollar deals. I was going to eat baby food from my own daughter's hand. "Open your mouth. Good girl." The moment I put that spoon in my mouth, it wasn't the sticky taste I felt. It was humiliation. I closed my eyes. My face was expressionless, but inside, a volcano was erupting. "Be patient, Isabella," I told myself. "This is their game. Yours is just beginning. Swallow." As I swallowed that food, I swallowed my own pride. The second blow came from Mateo, my empire, my study. They had forbidden me from entering that room. Supposedly, work stress was triggering me. One day, my physical therapist, Sophia, my loyal confidant, Sophia, accidentally took me to the room. The sight I saw took my breath away. My room was being cleared out. Mateo, a box in his hand, was taking down the pictures on the wall. That photo of my late husband Ricardo and me. My proud pose in front of the company's first building. They were all on the floor. My 20-year-old diaries and notebooks on my desk. They were all being stuffed into trash bags. "Mateo, what are you doing?" I wanted to scream. I wanted to get up and grab that box from him, but I couldn't. I could only whisper, "Those are mine." Mateo turned to me. that pained, understanding expression on his face, the expression I hated the most. "Mommy," he said calmly, "this place won't wear you down anymore. These memories, these old papers, the doctor said they were keeping you trapped in the past. We're turning over a new leaf for your recovery." A clean slate? He was erasing my life, my identity, my memory. He was packaging my existence. I realized then, they didn't just want my money. They didn't want me to be Isabella. They wanted me to be nobody. A mindless mass of flesh, unable to object to their dirty plans, without a past, without memory. Sophia quickly ushered me out of the room. That day, I mourned the loss of my own office, my own past. The third incident was isolation. Hector, the company's finance director, who had worked with me for years, my right-hand man, that honest, loyal man. He had come to visit me. I heard his voice in the hallway. "I need to see Miss Isabella, Camilla. There are very important signatures." I heard Camilla's voice. How sweet, how persuasive she was. "Ah, Hector. I wish I could, but the doctors have strictly forbidden it. She's on very strong medication. We can't have visitors. Mateo will take care of all the signatures now. There's a doctor's report, don't worry." Hector tried to protest. "But this is without her consent. For my mother's sake, Hector. Please, you have to go now. It's bedtime." I heard footsteps receding down the hallway. Hector was leaving. My only connection to the outside world, the one who could protect me. Sent away by my daughter. With lies. They had imprisoned me in a castle, and now they were locking all the castle's doors, one by one. I was helpless. My plan was working perfectly. I could see the extent of their betrayal, but I hadn't anticipated that this plan would make me feel so alone, so helpless. The fourth blow was the Guardian plan itself. One morning, two strange men entered the room. Mateo and Camilla had serious expressions on their faces. "Mom," said Mateo, "these gentlemen want to talk to you. Doctors. They want to assess your mental health." The moment had come. The guardianship case. The men began asking me questions. Cold, distant questions. "What day is it today, Mrs. Isabella? Who is the President of the United States? If I asked you to repeat the 3 words written on this piece of paper..." My stomach was in knots. These men were putting a price on my mind. I, the woman who built this city, was now being forced to memorize words like apple, table, money. Do you know what I did then? I decided to play along. "President, Ricardo," I said, giving my dead husband's name. "Today, is it Sunday? Oh, Mateo, we were going to church today, weren't we?" It was Tuesday. I saw the fake sadness on Camilla's face. "Did you see that?" look Mateo gave the doctors. I saw it all. The men took notes. "The situation doesn't look good," they whispered. When they left the room, Camilla came over and stroked my head. "You're tired, Mommy." "You're tired." Yes, I was tired. But not in the way they thought. I was tired of watching their cruel charade. I was tired of pretending to be crazy in order to use my own mind as a weapon against them. I had hit rock bottom. Something had to happen. Now. And it did. That last straw. It was more shocking, more personal than the others, because it wasn't about my money, my assets. It was about my soul, my deepest regret, my son whom I had abandoned. Before the accident, when I revealed my big secret to them, when I said I was going to find my first son, whom I had been forced to give up for adoption years ago, I saw the horror on their faces. The inheritance would be divided. That's why they had accelerated this executor plan. But I had acted before them. Immediately after the accident through Sophia, I had hired one of Miami's best private investigators, Javier. Secretly, I had only one request: find my son. That day, that damn day, it was raining. The sound of the raindrops hitting my window was like a lullaby compared to the storm inside me. It was Sophia's day off. I was home, alone with them. Mateo and Camila entered the room. There was another man with them, Javier, my detective. My heart nearly stopped. Why was he here? Why was he with them? "Mom," said Mateo, his voice as cold as a funeral director's. "There's news. For you. It's not good." Javier approached me. He couldn't look me in the face. He was avoiding my gaze. "Mrs. Isabella," he said, his voice trembling, "I've completed the investigation." He swallowed. "Your son, unfortunately, years ago, in a car accident in San Antonio, he died. I'm sorry. This is all I can bring you." He left the fake death certificate he was holding at the foot of my bed. The world stopped. The air. It was as if all the air had been sucked out of the room. He was dead. My son. My chance to find him. My chance to ask his forgiveness. It was all gone. Tears began to roll down my cheeks. This time, they weren't fake. These weren't the tears of the sick woman in the wheelchair, but the tears of the mother who had carried the pain of losing a child for 30 years. Camila patted my shoulder with fake compassion. "Oh, my dear mother, you can't imagine how sad we are. It's time to put this behind us. Forget him. We're here for you." Forget. How easy it was for them to say. Mateo grabbed Javier by the arm. "Thank you, Javier. You will be paid for your services." They led him out of the room. They didn't close the door completely. They left it ajar. Supposedly, I was to be left alone with my grief. But through that ajar door, I heard their whispers of victory. They were in the living room. Their voices were low, but my ears were now trained to hear betrayal. I heard Camila giggle. Yes! She was giggling. "That detective's face was so funny," she said. "How he sweated while reading that fake report. Poor thing." Mateo's voice was sharper. "He got good money. That money will keep his mouth shut. The important thing is that he didn't see me burn those documents, proving that brother is alive." A knife stabbed me, not in the stomach, but in the heart. "What did he say?" Camila continued. "Can you imagine, Mateo? That bum. What was his name? Alejandro? No, mine. Ah, whatever. If that bum had come here, he would have shared my mother's entire fortune. Thank God we found those old letters and that address in San Antonio. Before the detective did." "That lost son chapter is closed now," Mateo said firmly. "Tomorrow, the doctor's final report for the guardianship case will be completed. My mother is now, officially, our patient. And this empire, as it should be, belongs only to the two of us." At that moment, my tears stopped. That icy coldness inside me, that frozen pain, melted away in an instant and gave way to a boiling, pure rage. They had found my son. My son was alive, and they had stolen him from me. A second time. They hadn't just disinherited him, they had killed my hope of finding him, of holding him, of asking his forgiveness. They had mocked my pain. Up until that second, sitting in this wheelchair had been a strategy. Painful, but a game. Now, the game is over. This is a war. That mother inside me, Isabella. That compassionate woman, ready to forgive, stroking her children's hair. She died in that moment. I buried her, along with my tears. Only one person remains. The woman who built her empire with her fingernails. The ruthless businesswoman who sold her mother's rubies to buy that first building. They tried to steal not my money, but my soul. They stole my other child from me, and they would pay the price. That day, on that rainy day, the sick woman in that wheelchair died, and La Matriarca was reborn to take her revenge. It was no longer about getting the money back. It was about regaining my honor. It was about showing them who Isabella was, how sharp the mind of that woman they called crazy really was. And most importantly, it was about finding my son, despite them. The moment I learned my son was alive, but realized they had stolen him from me, that moment, rage burned everything inside me to ashes. War, I said. This is war now. But deciding to fight is easy. The hard part is waking up the next morning and breathing with the weight of that decision. When night fell, when my fake sick act was over, when Sophia locked the door and I got up from that damn chair, standing on my legs that I had been secretly strengthening for months, that's when Mother came back. I stood secretly in my room, in the moonlight. My legs were shaking, but not from strength, from the conflict inside me. "What am I doing?" I whispered into the darkness. "They are my flesh and blood, no matter what." Matteo came to mind. To destroy them. That meant destroying a mother too, disgracing them in society, maybe even putting them in jail. How could I do that? I had given them life. Just then, my eye caught the dresser. That silver frame Sophia had secretly saved before I was thrown out of my study. Matteo's university graduation. He looked so handsome in his gown. He had hugged me. I remembered that moment, as if it were yesterday. He had leaned close to my ear and said, "I did everything for you, Mom. To be as strong as you, to make your empire even bigger." The pride I felt at that moment, I wouldn't trade it for the world. My son, my heir. My eyes filled with tears. Maybe I'm wrong, I said to myself. Maybe they were afraid. Fear of inheritance. Money changes people, but they are my sons. And right in the middle of that moment of mercy, his other words rang in my head. That cold, calculating voice. If he doesn't recover, he won't be of sound mind either. And the most painful, the most unforgivable, the fact that he didn't see me burn those documents, proving that brother of his was alive. My intelligent son, whom I was so proud of, had used his intelligence to steal a child from me. My son, whom I wanted to be strong, had used his strength against me to declare me crazy. My tears dried up. I turned the frame face down. No, there was no mercy. At that moment, that mother died. Again. A few days passed. The torment continued. Camilla had brought that disgusting baby food. "Open your pretty mouth, sweetheart." When she put the spoon in my mouth, I remembered her childhood, my little princess. She had such a bad fever when she was 5. I had waited by her side for days. I had put wet cloths on her to bring down the fever, never letting go of her little hand for a moment. In her weak voice, she had whispered, "Mommy, don't go." "I won't go," I had said. "I will never leave you, my little flower." That pure, unconditional love I felt at that moment. I put the spoon in my mouth. As I swallowed that sticky food, the mother inside me whispered again, "She's your little girl. She's just spoiled, weak. The real culprit is her brother. You have to protect her." But then, that damn chuckle, that disgusting, mocking chuckle I heard through the crack in the door. "That detective's face was so funny," he said. "What if that bum had come here? Thank God we found the address. My little flower had learned she had another sibling and had chuckled at his disinheritance, at the fake death notice. She had mocked my pain. My stomach churned. This time, it wasn't from the food. I was disgusted by my own daughter. I pushed the spoon away. Enough, I whispered. Camilla looked worried. What's wrong, Mommy? Don't you like it? I turned my head away. I want to sleep. My resolve was as sharp as a knife. There was no more hesitation. There was no more pity. The mother inside me had been completely silenced. Only La Matriarca remained, the ruthless businesswoman who built her empire with her fingernails, sold her mother's rubies, and pitted city councils against each other for the Bayside project. It was time for the plan, time to strategize, the war. My greatest asset was their greatest mistake. This wheelchair. While they thought I was helpless, I was secretly growing stronger at night with Sophia's help. While they thought I was crazy, I was etching every word they said into my memory. The steps of my plan were simple, just like restructuring a bankrupt company, rational and ruthless. Step 1. Gather loyal allies. Sophia was already with me. She was my hands, my feet. But I needed someone from the outside, someone from within the company. Hector, my honest, loyal finance director, the man Camilla had kicked out with lies. I gave Sophia a secret mission. Find Hector, I said. Give him this note. Only him, without anyone seeing. The note contained a single sentence. I'm inside the Trojan horse. The enemy has taken over the castle. Keep playing the game. Say yes to everything they say, but take a copy of every document, every transfer, every email, and back it up. Wait until I signal you. I had built a real estate empire. I knew loyalty. Hector would understand this coded message, despite my mentally unstable reports. He would be my mole inside. Step 2. Find Miguel. Really. This was more important than revenge. This was the salvation of my soul. Mateo said he burned the old letters. That stupid son of mine. I, Isabella, am a woman who has dedicated her life to documents, deeds, contracts. I never keep a single copy of anything important. Those letters, that painful correspondence with the agency that adopted Miguel. Yes, a copy was in the safe in my study, and Mateo had burned it. But the originals had been in the safe of that big bank in downtown Miami for 20 years, never seeing the light of day. At night, while they slept, I got up from my wheelchair with my healed legs. I slipped out of the house. Sophia was waiting in the car. I went to the bank. Opening that safe was like reopening a 30-year-old wound. Those yellowed papers, that address in San Antonio, the name of that agency, everything was there. I returned to Sophia. Now, I said, find a better detective than Javier. Money is no object. Find my son. But I have one condition. He will speak only to you, not to me. The most important part of the plan had begun. Step 3. Setting the trap. While they were speeding up my guardianship case, I was preparing their downfall. I needed a stage where everyone would see, where their reputations would be shattered. The idea of the Family Foundation donation night was perfect, but it had to be their idea. One morning, I experienced one of the most convincing moments of my crazy act. With Mateo and Camila by my side, I stared into space and began to ramble. The children. Oh, poor children. Money. All the money. We must donate. To the foundation. In my name. The Isabella Foundation. Mateo and Camilla's eyes lit up. They looked at each other. They saw the opportunity. Great idea, Mom, Mateo said immediately. In your honor, we'll organize a big fundraising gala for the Isabella Recovery Foundation. Everyone in Miami will be there. Camilla added, everyone will see what good children we are, how we take care of our mother. Fools. They were planning that night as a public relations stunt to protect their mentally unstable mother's legacy. That night, they would announce the will, speak on my behalf, and take over the foundation. What they didn't know was this. That night, their sick mother would rise from that wheelchair. And that night, I had added 2 more names to the guest list. One was Hector. He had the backup documents, showing how the company was being looted. The other was coming on a private plane from San Antonio. The trap was set. All I had to do now was continue playing the sick role until that night. Then, that night came. The Isabella Recovery Foundation's fundraising gala, that magnificent theater of betrayal organized in my name, with my own money. The grand ballroom was filled with Miami's entire elite, journalists, businessmen, the fake faces of high society. They were all there, and I was sitting right in the middle of the room in that damn wheelchair, the guest of honor of the night, the suffering matriarch. Camilla stood over me, her hand never leaving my shoulder. "Are you okay, Mommy?" she whispered to the cameras. What a loving daughter she was. Mateo was at the side of the stage, like the host of the evening. That fake, worried smile was plastered on his face. My heart was frozen. It wasn't beating, just counting down the time. The plan was going smoothly. Sophia, my loyal confidant, was beside me in her nurse's uniform. Her eyes were on the door. Hector was waiting for my signal. And that plane from San Antonio. It had landed. I knew it. Mateo took the microphone. The room fell silent. "Dear friends," he began, his voice trembling. What a great actor he was. "Tonight, we are here not just for a foundation, but for the honor of a giant, my mother Isabella." Applause. As you know, after that terrible accident, my mother is not the same. Her mind comes and goes. And rippled through the room. I could see the fake pity on their faces. To protect the empire she built, to preserve her legacy, her name, that is now my and my sister's responsibility. I glanced at Sophia. Sophia nodded slightly. The time had come. Mateo took a breath to deliver the fatal blow. With the latest reports from the doctors and the court's approval, for the sake of our dear mother, as of tonight, we are taking over all the powers of the company and the foundation as guardians. That was the moment, just as the word guardian left his mouth. The main door of the ballroom opened. It was Hector who entered. He had a file in his hand. "Mateo!" he called out. His voice was ice cold. "Your speech is wonderful, but I think you're reading the wrong documents." Mateo froze. "Hector, what are you doing here?" "I just came to show the facts," said Hector. And at that moment, instead of photos of Mateo's sick mother, the giant screen behind the stage began to show bank transfer records and forged powers of attorney bearing Mateo's signature. The room went silent. Everyone was staring at those numbers, those documents showing how millions of dollars had been transferred to his personal accounts under the guise of a foundation. Camilla's face turned pale. This is a lie." Mateo stammered. "Hector, you're fired. Security." "No, he's not fired." The voice was mine. Sophia had released the brakes on my wheelchair. All eyes turned to me. At that moment, I left all that pain, all that baby formula, all that clearing out the room, all those fake doctor's reports. I left it all in that chair. I rested my hands on the armrests, on my legs, which I had secretly worked in pain at night for months. I stood up. I got up. In the hall, you could hear a pin drop. Hundreds of phone cameras were pointed at me. The glass in Camilla's hand fell and shattered on the floor. Mateo's face. I will never forget that face for the rest of my life. Horror, fear, and being caught. I walked towards the microphone. Every step was as heavy as my mother's rubies. Every step was as solid as the Bayside Project. I took the microphone from Mateo's hand. "Good evening," I said. My voice didn't tremble. It seems the Recovery Foundation worked. Much faster than you expected. I fixed my eyes on Mateo. "Guardianship, is that right, son? For which sick mother? For the mother you've been lying to doctors about for months, saying she's mentally unstable?" I turned to Camilla. "Or was it for your mother, whom you stuffed baby food into her mouth because she couldn't swallow? My girl, how far would you have gone for that expensive home?" They fell silent. They were trembling. "You could have stolen my money," I said, my voice rising. "You could have taken my empire. But you stole more than that from me." The side door to the hall opened. When they saw the man who entered, they both recoiled, as if they had seen a ghost. "You," I said, "you stole my son from me, the one you told me was dead. Miguel, my son, he was there, healthy and alive." "Here," I said to the crowd, "let me introduce you. Mateo and Camilla's brother, whose existence they hid from you, even from me, so the inheritance wouldn't be divided. My first son, Miguel." At that moment, it was all over. Flashes were going off, the angry murmurs of the people, the whispers of monster. Mateo and Camilla, under those bright lights, were left in the darkness of their own greed. On the stage, I had set up. They had played out their own end. After that night, everything happened very quickly. The guardianship case was closed before it even began. The documents Hector presented, the bank records, those fake doctors' reports, brought the inevitable end for Mateo and Camilla. Fraud, forgery, and a whole host of other charges. My empire? No, I didn't care anymore. I put Hector in charge of the company. He would sort it out. Them? They lost everything, not just their money, their reputation, their social circle, and their mother. They died that night, as far as I was concerned. A new life was beginning for me. My honor? I had regained that. But I had found something more valuable than honor. Peace. Now I'm here, far away from the bright fake lights of Miami. I'm in San Antonio, in a small house with a wooden porch. This is Miguel's house. He's a carpenter. He makes everything with his hands, just like I built those first buildings, with my fingernails. We sit. There's a 30-year silence between us. What can I say to him? Is "I'm sorry" enough? "I owe you 30 years, Miguel," I say quietly. "I can't pay it all back." "I know, but maybe we can start with a cup of coffee?" Miguel looks at me, his eyes, my eyes, but there's no ambition in them, no Miami poison. He smiles, slowly. It's not fake, like Mateo and Camilla's bright smiles. It's real, a little broken, but a real smile. "Okay," he says. "Mom." That word, Mom. He goes inside and gets 2 cups of coffee. As he hands me the cup, I see his calloused hand. This is more valuable than my mother's rubies. This is a stronger foundation than the Bayside Project. This is my rebirth. I am Isabella. I am 54 years old, and my life is actually just beginning. "What about the sale?" I said. "What if they sign before I do?" Montoya smiled, for the first time. "That designer and real estate agent, they're both Beatrice's relatives. We can get them charged with organized crime too. Don't worry, Carmen. That deed is yours. And no one else will touch that deed but you." He prepared certified copies of all the books. He loaded Valeria's digital evidence onto a USB drive. He transferred the audio from the tape to digital format. The plan was legal and deadly. What did they value most? Reputation, social status. Then, we would strike right there. They would take the stage to tell their success stories. They would tell those investors how they went from zero to becoming a brand. At that very moment, Valeria would project my gift onto that giant screen behind them. First, Mateo's crackling voice. "Mom, I swear, it's just for suppliers." Then the Cancun photo. Then my notebook. Transfer minus $320,000. And finally, that real estate listing. The listing for his father's inheritance. "Get ready, Valeria," I said. "We're going to the party." That night, I remember walking to that hotel that night, that luxurious penthouse. Everything was glass. All of Miami sparkled beneath those fake people's feet. The doorman looked at me. I was wearing my old but best dress, black, simple. There were no flower stains on me. My hair was pulled back. The bandage on my arm was pure white, clean. "Name, please?" said the man, sizing me up. "I'm Carmen Rivera," I said. "I'm the special guest of my daughter-in-law, Isabella." The man found my name on the list. He was surprised. He wasn't expecting me. The dusty baker. I went inside. The music. It was so loud it drowned out the sound of my heart. Everywhere, people were holding champagne bought with my money, smiling falsely at each other. The young girls they call influencers were posing for their phones. I saw Valeria. She was at the technical desk. She was dressed as a waitress. She nodded slightly. She was ready. And then, I saw them. The kings and queens of the night. Beatriz was swimming in diamonds. Isabella was wearing a silver dress with her back completely exposed. And Mateo, my son, in that expensive suit. He wasn't my son. He was a puppet they had created. Beatriz saw me. She smiled. That snake smile. She came over to me. "Carmen, querida, so you made it," she said, her voice louder than the music. "I felt sorry for you. I told you not to sit alone in the shop. Come and see real success. Learn how to escape the dusty life." I smiled at her. "As promised, Beatriz," I said. "I brought my gift." Her face changed. At that moment, she was afraid of me. But it was too late. Isabella took the microphone. The music stopped. On the giant screen behind her, it said, "Bella's Bites, Global Success." "Welcome," she chirped. "Tonight, we celebrate the birth of this brand, created from scratch by me and my husband, Mateo." The crowd applauded. Those potential investors, those men in expensive suits, sitting in the front row, were taking notes. "We worked hard," said Mateo. "We left old, outdated ideas behind. We stepped into the digital world." Isabella continued. "Some didn't understand. They called us dusty. But we saw the future. And this investment, this was the result of our family's complete trust in us." At that moment, when I heard the word trust, I looked at Valeria, and I nodded. Now, the Bella's Bites logo on that giant screen suddenly cracked. The image disappeared. Isabella paused. "Ah, a technical glitch, I suppose." And then, the screen came back. But this time, the logo was gone. There was Cancun, my son, my daughter-in-law, my in-laws, by the pool, raising glasses with my money. Below, Isabella's comment, "The life we deserve." A murmur rose from the crowd. "What's this?" said an investor. Isabella's face turned pale. This is a mistake. The screen changed again. On the left, my handwriting. My analog notebook. Enlarged, clear. Power of attorney transfer, Cancun, minus $320,000. On the right, that real estate listing. Pasteleria Rivera, for sale. Beatrice jumped up. Turn it off, turn it off. But it was too late. Everyone had seen it. Isabella shouted into the microphone, trembling. It's a lie! These are lies! He gave us this money. It was a gift. He trusted us. Right, Mateo? Mateo was frozen. He trusted us! Isabella screamed. I slowly walked forward, through the crowd. Trust? I said. My voice echoed in that hall, even without a microphone. A gift, was it? I gave Valeria the final signal. And then, there was a crackle from the speakers. And that voice cut through all the fake music, all the whispers, like a knife. My tired, pained voice, power of attorney. For what? And then Mateo's voice, clear, strong, and deceitful. Mom, I swear, just for the suppliers, Senor Rodriguez's flour, milk, and your hospital bills. I won't touch anything else. I promise. That voice recording, that promise, hung in the air. In the hall, there was deathly silence. The hands holding those champagne glasses froze. Everyone was looking at me. And then, I raised my bandaged arm. This, I said, this is the arm that burned when he gave that promise. I am Carmen Rivera, I said. I looked at those investors. I am the owner of that shop, that dusty shop. Those old ideas were my 30 years of work. That money they called a gift was my mother's heirloom gold. Isabella collapsed to the floor, sobbing. Her silver dress lay like trash on the expensive marble. Beatrice. Liar! Slanderer! She shouted, but no one was listening to her. This Bella's Bites brand, I continued, it wasn't built from scratch. It was built on my hospital bed, on top of my pain. And then, I looked at Mateo. My son. He was crying, silently. I remember the day I bought you that bike, I whispered, just loud enough for him to hear. But you didn't just sell your father's legacy, you sold that 6-year-old boy, too. At that exact moment, the salon doors opened. Senor Montoya, and 2 police officers beside him. Mateo Rivera, Isabella Rivera, Beatriz Solano, said Montoya's calm voice. You must come with us on suspicion of breach of trust, organized fraud, and elder abuse. That moment, chaos erupted. Flashbulbs were popping, those influencers. Now they were filming this spectacle. This would get them more engagement than their Cancun photos. Beatrice screamed. She scratched. Don't touch me! Do you know who I am? They lifted Isabella off the ground. In that silver dress, she was just a small, pathetic thief. Mateo, he didn't resist. As the officers took him away, he turned and looked at me. His eyes, those eyes said, Mom, help me. I turned my head away. The notebook was closed. As I descended from that attic, what I left behind was not just a ruined party. Behind me, I left the burnt-out lives of those 3 parasites, feeding on my ashes. That night ended at the police station, of course. Senor Montoya laid everything out on the table, my analog notebooks, that crackling analog tape, and Valeria's digital screenshots. The trial didn't last long. The evidence, they said, was overwhelming. Beatrice, she was the mastermind. She was the organizer. She got the most for organized crime. I don't know, 7 years? 8? She'll lose her bronze for a long time. Isabella, she was the brand. She got jail time too, but less. I think she said, "I'm sorry," she cried. For her, the collapse of her reputation was worse than anything else. Bella's bites? In the neighborhood, they call her Bella's busted now. That influencer world, it spat her out in a day. And Mateo, my son, he cooperated. He confessed everything. He explained how his mother, his wife, manipulated him, how she deceived him. His sentence was suspended, a heavy community service sentence. And of course, the $300,000 he stole from me, he'll pay it back, penny by penny, working for the rest of his life. He called me, after the court, just once. "Mom," he said. His voice was like it was the day he got his first bike, like a child. "I'm sorry." I paused. "I know, Mateo," I said, "but an apology doesn't fix what's broken. It just shows you understand why it broke. Go fix your life, but away from me." I hung up. That chapter really had to be closed. But what about me? What did I do? The bank insurance returned some of the money, but most of it was gone. It went to those lobsters, that champagne. But my honor, that came back. The day after the party, Señor Rodriguez, the flower supplier, was at my door. He had a sack of flour on his shoulder. "Carmen," he said, taking off his hat, "I apologize on behalf of the whole neighborhood. We believed you, but those rumors—" "I know, Señor Rodriguez," I said. He left the flour on the counter. "Consider it a debt," he said, "whenever you want." I didn't sell the shop, that shop. I couldn't. It was my lifeline, but I changed it. Those walls they called dusty. Yes, I painted them, but not with that fake white marble. I painted them that warm yellow my husband and I chose. And that recipe book that was thrown in the trash, the one with my mother's handwriting, I framed it. Now it hangs on the wall right behind the cash register for everyone to see, so they know how deep my roots go. My oven, that oven bought with my mother's gold, it's still burning. My burned arm healed. Yes, there's a scar, a faint scar from my elbow to my wrist. But when I look at that scar, I no longer feel pain. That scar. It doesn't remind me of betrayal. It reminds me of how I survived the fire. Ah, and then there's Valeria. She wasn't my apprentice. She was my eyes. Now she's my partner. I am the analog queen. She is my digital prince. I make cakes and pastries. She puts my art on Instagram. "Carmen," she says to me with a smile, "your flan recipe, it went viral." I still don't fully understand what that means, but my shop has never been this full. Yesterday we got a new order for a big quinceañera party, 5 tiers, just like Isabella's. And standing at the oven in that heat, kneading the dough, I smiled. The smell was the same, the scent of vanilla and fresh bread. But this time, it wasn't the smell of burning. It was the scent of a new beginning.